Pumping on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and upsea quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team, and we rock it. We rock Texans for life, you can't stop it. Together like brothers and Becks and Jets.
What's going on, sports fans? Welcome to another edition of RaWordz podcast, the late night edition, NFL review on Sunday, going through the games, giving our analysis on what happened, all the drama, all the fantastic plays, and all the stuff that happened today, man. And when we're talking football, I gotta have my guy on the stream with me from Nerdtalk. Y'all already know who it is. Picks from Dave. What's going on, guy?
I'm happy to be here, happy to be alive. Sweating this last Sunday night game out.
Yeah, we got San Francisco up 10-5, 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's going as I expected, man. Denver really can't produce any offense, and Hackett, we all know his issues. So, 49ers can run the ball. They play sound defense, so they only got 10 points, but that's probably going to be enough. They may get a late field goal, who knows? But Denver just can't seem to muster up any offense, man, and it's just going to be a continuing issue all season if they don't get these things together. So, what do you think about it?
Well, I think they have problems. I think Russell Wilson doesn't look comfortable. But he had a couple of shining moments where he did some little razzle-dazzle Mighty Mouse stuff. But the Niners defense is the truth. That's the bottom line. They're getting to him right now. I almost just sacked his ass. He had to throw the ball away. I've never seen Russell Wilson throw the ball away. Usually he's like Patrick Mahomes. He'll find a guy.
That's all he seems like he's been doing since he came to Denver, throwing the ball away.
Yeah, he's in trouble. I mean, I know we've got buddies and stuff that are Broncos fans. I wondered why everyone was so high on them. I look at indexes and they're way too high to me. I mean, they're fighting for the worst team in the division.
Yeah, I had high expectations for them.
Did you?
Yeah, I figured they were going to at least be fighting for the division, maybe a wild card. But I didn't think that Nathaniel Hackett was that ignorant and stupidity when he makes decisions. So who knows, man?
Kansas City lost today, so you never. I mean, they're not. I mean, it's going to be a race, right? But there's no. I mean, I'm not going to say no way. How this team is not better than Kansas City, and this team isn't better than the Chargers, even though the Chargers got smoked today by the Jaguars, but they've got some interest. Anyway.
Very, very, very surprising. But hey, let's go and get on into it, man. We can give our analysis and things like that. Let's start off with these Texans, man. They played the Bears today. The Bears end up squeaking it out 23-20. I was on the Texans +3, so I guess I won that one because they had to win by 4. So that was a good cash. I had the team total under 17.5, but hey, they scored 3 more points than I said, thought. So hey, whoa, big deal, right? But David Montgomery went out the game, and I had his prop. I had his rushing prop. I had his touchdown with the Bears to win. And I think I had another one. I'm not sure, but he goes out in the first quarter with a knee injury, and his backup comes in, and he rushes for 157 yards on 20 carries, 2 touchdowns. So we knew that the Bears, that's what they do. They run the ball more than they pass. So it showed today with Justin Fields only having 106, passing yards. Davis Mills, on the other hand, he had 245. He had 2 picks, though. And I mentioned that on Jimmy's show that his completion percentage drops when he goes on the road. And I was weary of that, and that's why I didn't take the win. I knew that they would be close because considering the Bears and the Texans really image each other when it comes to what they do. But this game kind of went the way I wanted to. The Texans played defense more than I expected. They came up with some timely sacks. But other than that, the game went the way I felt. Bears squeak it out by 3 points. So what was your thoughts on this one?
Well, I'm surprised by both these teams, to tell you the truth. I thought they're actually showing up. Bears beat the 49ers. Granted, there was a lot going on in that game. So these games might not be unwatchable. I tagged this game as unless you're a fan, unwatchable. But that might not be the case. I don't take a lot of NFL props today. I took a bunch just because they all look good. I laddered David Montgomery. So I a half a unit each. So I lost 1.5 units on that. That kind of crushed me. But I did ladder with Big Show Josh Allen's passing yards. So that blew it. So that was kind of an even squeak there. You know, the thing about this game is Davis Mills is kind of what I think he is. Justin Fields is what I think he is. Khalil Herbert, I remember having him picking him up on a fantasy team the past couple of years. He has some talent. He's still not a starter when Montgomery comes back. And I guess the biggest takeaway from this game, because I didn't have a vested interest, is I'm interested to see how Dameon Pierce's career starts on such a not so great team. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be this is the thing about Houston running backs. We know this if you're a fantasy guy. They're not good to pick up because they're playing from behind. Mm-hmm. So it's all about their receivers. But I'm interested because I liked him in college, so he's gonna be someone I watch. But as far as these two teams go today, either one could have won. I'm glad you won your bet. I didn't have a side.
Yeah, either team could have won this game. They were making mistakes. And like I said, Texas defense played well, but it may be the fact that Justin Fields was making bad decisions, so that could have been a factor in that. Oh, Denver's driving.
They are.
In the red zone.
The good thing about this is what I wonder about this game. So they're going to have to go for 2 to make it 13-7. I mean, to 13-10 instead of 12 because a field goal would win it. So it could get interesting if they get in the end zone. Yeah,
we may have once he score right here, we may can jump on a live bet, see what the live bet's looking like.
We can. I'm so like I said, I took a bigger bet than.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did tell you.
What I did was the money line was only minus 124. So I took the money line instead of the 1.5.
Okay.
So I had I made sure that there he goes. He's going to get in. They're probably going to score. So this is going to be a Jimmy G. Don't screw it up. He already got a safety by stepping on the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
But,
well, like I said, the Texas, man, same old problems, same old things. 3 of 12 on third down. They only rushed for 92 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, 2 turnovers. And like I said, it's just the same old things. Fourth quarter, they didn't score no points. And like I tell everybody, second half, whatever team that Texas is playing, make sure you take that team in the second half because they just cannot score. They come out in the first quarter, they get put you 20 points up. But the two quarters, third or fourth, they're anemic. They're invisible. So I'm going to continue to look at them for as they're going to be a good spread team because the defense comes to play. And like I said, it just depends on the matchup. Let's see who they have next week. They have the Chargers next week at home. And that's a pretty winnable game to where they can cover that too. And they play well at home. So I'm going to go through the numbers this week and see. I may put a little sprinkle on the Texans covering that 6.5 on the Chargers. So I believe they can do that. Considering how Justin Herbert and them played today against Jacksonville, Texas may have a shot to cover.
Did he come? Did I see him come in the game, or was I imagining things? I wasn't following that game. I was watching Red Zone because I couldn't watch NFL.
No, Herbert played.
Oh yeah, he did play.
Yeah, he played. You
said he didn't. I thought you said he didn't play. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I say considering how hurt he is.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah, he played. He had 297, but we'll get to that. Let's go to this next game. We got. I don't know if you had an interest in this one. The Raiders and the Titans. I didn't have a side on this game. I watched a little bit of it, and it just looked like a lot of Derrick Henry to me. Titans came into this game wanting to pound the ball down the Raiders' throat. The Raiders, Derek Carr did have 303 yards on 44 attempts, though. That's a lot of attempts. They only rushed for 96. Mac Hollins, 8 receptions, 158 yards and a touchdown. Don't know if you have him on your fantasy or not, but he showed up.
Yep.
And like I said, the Raiders had came back in the fourth quarter. They had, 12 points in the fourth. Titans did not score any points in the second half. So they had the game up for grabs. They could have lost that game because I saw the Raiders came down and scored, but they needed a 2-point conversion, and they didn't convert. And that's how they lost that game. So what was your thoughts on this game? Did you have an interest in anything?
I didn't have the interest in this game for me. Again, it was kind of like last game, but two better teams. I want to see where these teams are going, and I think I have a pretty good feel on these two teams. I mean, the Raiders, they're actually about what I expected. I think both of these teams are overrated by even a lot of cappers, to tell you the truth. The Raiders maybe slightly better than the Broncos right now. I think the Broncos get their stuff together.
Turning your squad into a car wash.
ESPN. And the Titans are, they're really one-dimensional. They have a bad quarterback. They have a great running back, and they play defense, and they have a defensive-minded coach. So, I mean, they're predictable. I just wanted to see where they're going to kind of fit in the mix of things. People said they might win the division. With the way the Colts are playing, maybe they might contend for it. But the Titans are going to be – the Titans might start getting more disrespectful lines, more bettable lines, because I think the lines have been too close, like pretty much right on the dot. And the Raiders are probably going to be a fade or pass team for me.
Yeah, I agree.
This game was just to see. I mean, like I said, I was watching Red Zone. I had a couple games on. But this game, I kind of wanted to see where it ended up, and it ended up right where I thought it was. Either team could have won. Yeah.
The Raiders, for them to be in this game and going 1 for 12 on third down really says a lot about the Titans.
Yeah.
Seriously. And they had more yards. They had 396 to 361, 300 passing yards, like I said, at 252. So the numbers show that the Raiders possibly could have won this game, but 2 of 6 in the red zone is what hurt them. They couldn't convert touchdowns in the red zone. So that was the game right there. And I agree with you. The Titans may be a bet on cover team in the future once they get the line straight and see how these teams play and things like that. Plus, I like Vrabel, man. He's a player's coach. So
I do.
I always root for Vrabel. I wish he could have been a coach of the Texans instead of Bill O'Brien, but that's another story.
Yeah.
So let's move on to this one, man. I definitely had interest in this game. I had the Chiefs plus the points. And it was looking so-so in halftime. Colts had 10. The Chiefs had, 14. It was 14-10 at halftime. But the Chiefs, they tried to get cute, Dave. Muff punt, multiple awful kick returns. They had a missed field goal. They had a fake field goal that just ended horribly. And Chris Jones, costly penalty after a third down sack, which gave them a first down, and they end up scoring. So the Chiefs boo-booed on themselves pretty bad today. I didn't expect that, but I knew that I should have been cautious of a team getting blown out on a shutout and coming back and playing their home opener. But the numbers showed me that the Colts wasn't up for this battle. But like I said, I think the Chiefs helped them a lot by getting turnovers and putting the ball in good field position from them to come down and score. So I'll give Colts their credit. They won the game, but I still feel that stuff still needs to be cleaned up on their side of the ball. And I'm not going to be betting the Colts anytime soon. They're going to have to show me more. So this is not going to discourage me from betting on the Chiefs again. So what are your thoughts?
I think the same thing. This game was sort of an aberration. I said when Matt Ryan went there, this is Carson Wentz, but with a veteran mind. Actually, Carson Wentz is more athletic. I'm going to have to shut this. I'm so sorry.
No, you good.
Every time I go to a new page to look up the stats, that stupid ad comes.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan's not the answer. He's actually been sort of the problem. Jonathan Taylor, he did all right today. And I think Mahomes, this was give credit to the Colts defense, I guess, for kind of keeping them at bay. But the Chiefs are never going to go undefeated. The Colts weren't going to go winless. But the Colts definitely, to me, are not as good as people thought. And the Chiefs still are one of the best teams in the NFL. I didn't have a side on this. Actually, a lot of sharp cappers I knew were on both sides for different reasons. I happen to think some people are still holding out hope that the Colts are going to be good. People that had them to win, had them to maybe go to the Super Bowl, which with Matt Ryan. Are you kidding me? By the way, what happened when Matt Ryan went to the Super Bowl? I'm Brady. The best game ever. But anyway, I didn't have a betting interest in this. It's a surprise, and that's kind of the theme of the day. Three of the NFL's best teams lost outright. I didn't even cover the spread.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it was.
But it helped that Matt Ryan got his receiver back. Michael Pittman played today. You see, and he
USC Trojan.
Yeah, he led the team with 8 receptions, 72 yards. He's a viable piece to that receivers because they're already limited. They're using Hines, and Taylor out the backfield. So that's eventually going to catch up.
Yeah,
I don't think those guys are built to be dual threats like that. So it's very important that Matt Ryan keeps Michael Pittman Jr. on the team because that's his go-to guy. But the Colts did play well on defense. They stopped the Chiefs in crucial possessions. So I give them credit, man. And like you just said, Chiefs weren't going to go undefeated, but it's not going to discourage me from putting money on them another week. So let's move on to this one. This was a very, very, very exciting game right here. But when I go through the numbers on this game, the Bills had no reason losing this game, man. Dave. Josh Allen threw for 400 yards. Hold on, let me get to it. 400 yards, 497 total, 11 of 18 on third down, 115 rushing yards, 40 minutes. The Bills had the ball 40 minutes, and they lost this game. I have no idea how they lost it. I didn't see anything as far as any highlights or anything yet, but I was going through the numbers, and I'm just trying to understand, how did Miami come back again in the fourth quarter and beat this team? Only by 7 points. They only scored 7 points in the second half. The Bills scored 5, and they won that game. So tell me your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I did the same thing. When I was watching it, then I turned it off. Then I went back and I saw the end of the game when there was that wasn't a delay of game. I'm thinking there was 2 delay of games with 2 different teams. But yeah, there was a delay of game. They didn't get up to the ball. Well, actually, they didn't actually allow themselves enough time to run a play. And Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, was slamming shit in the tower and all that. But anyway, when you look at this, Josh Allen threw for 400 yards, like you said. There really wasn't. I mean, he didn't throw any interceptions. There were some fumbles, but they only lost 1 of the 4 fumbles. The other 3 they recovered. So it's not like there was a big turnover differential. I think this is a game where all those yards were kind of meaningless and they didn't convert that for a score. And also, by the way, this might be a situation where Miami is better than people think. I was kind of low on them. I'm low on Tua. Tua had more of a game that you expect from him, like 186 yards and 1 TD. I just think the team all around might be a pretty decent team and play well. And also they seem to know when to turn it up, which is super, super important. That's kind of like a Ravens type of deal and Steelers type of deal. But it is very first of all, best team in the NFL, in my opinion, losing to a inferior team. When you look at the box score, and if you looked at the box score and you didn't see the final score, you'd be like, the Bills killed the Dolphins.
Yeah, you would. And like I said, I would have to see the tape to understand how did they lose this game. The Miami Dolphins only had 41 yards rushing on 17 carries. And Tua, he threw for 212. But they say he had a concussion, but yet they're saying his back was hurt, and that's why he was able to come back in the game. So it's investigating going on there. You know, they're trying to say it was some funny business going on. But at the end of the day, man, the coach for Miami, Mike McDaniels, is 3-0, starting his career beating Belichick, Harbaugh, and Sean McDermott.
Yeah.
Pretty good resume to start off your career. So kudos to him, man. Let's see if Miami could keep it going. Let me see who they got next week. Miami, the Bengals, Thursday night, going on a short week. So
they're going to beat the Bengals. The Bengals are in trouble, I think. But
anyway. Miami's D could probably get after Burrow, considering how weak that offensive line is. So I probably would be looking at Miami to cover that as well. All right, man. Let's move on to this next one, man. Detroit and the Vikings. Vikings end up winning 28-24. Kirk Cousins, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook, 17 carries, 96 yards, had a touchdown. Thielen had a touchdown. As far as Detroit, Jared Goff, 277, touchdown and a pick. Jamal Williams, is that his name? Jamal Williams, yeah, I knew that. 20 carries, 87 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That was a good game for him. But the receivers did not have a touchdown. And I had St. Brown. I had his catches over 67 yards. He hit that prop, but I also had the touchdown with the win, and he did not get a touchdown. Yeah, so he stopped his streak of 8 straight games, I believe, with 8+ receptions and a touchdown. So we both were on that. But other than that, Detroit, like I said, they were up. Another game that we were on. They were up in the fourth quarter. Vikings come back and score 14 points in the fourth quarter and win the game. So what are your thoughts?
I loved this game for betting purposes and to see the Lions. Super high on the Lions. I said this on your show before the season started. Definitely a bet on team for offenses and overs. I've had the team total both past 2 weeks. It's hit. I had the Lions +6. It's not so much the Vikings. It's more of the Lions are more legit. I think that was disrespectful. And they led this game until the fourth quarter. No one would have thought that. I mean, if you I guess you couldn't have middled them, but I'm high on the Lions, especially their offense and their coach, not the quarterback so much, but their skill position. And I'm actually kind of high on the Vikings too. I just thought this line was not where it should have been, and it ended up more what I thought it should be, about a 3-point game. So they scored 4, and so I went 2 out of 3 bets on this game, and Amon-Ra St. Brown's still going to be a prop guy. He's a dude, super good athlete. I followed his career from high school because he's a Southern California kid and went to USC. So this was a game. Lions games are going to find ways to bet the Lions, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I like how Dan Cable got this team feisty. You know, they don't give up. They come to play. They, like I said, and they go down to the wire. And he's changed the culture of this team, and that's all you can ask for. You know, we're not trying to expect you to come out and win the division the first couple of years when you were a 0-16 team. You see, so he's constantly building up this credibility of getting that culture straight to where Detroit is going to be some money every week. You're going to have to look and see who they're playing because they're going to come out and fight every week. So I'm definitely going to keep riding Detroit plus the points. Let's see who they got next week. Just a little quick preview. Detroit has the Seahawks at home. So
this mother effer, he got sacked. So the Broncos scored, and then they held him, and then Jimmy G held the ball too long, like he doesn't get sacked. They got to go all the way down the field. But anyway,
wow.
The Lions. Who are the Lions playing?
The Seahawks at home next week.
That should actually be a pretty good game. You wouldn't have thought that at the beginning of the season, but
do you know the trend of West Coast teams coming to the East Coast and playing that 12 o'clock time?
I don't. That's an
It's not a good record. It's not a good. I don't know I'm pretty sure it's going to come out later on in the week. Oh, did he? Oh,
yeah. This is just a horrible meltdown. Meltdown.
God.
Yeah.
I don't know why I went on the under this game.
Yeah. Well, the under was the play.
Man, wow.
Yeah. What a meltdown.
Oh well. But yeah, I was saying that West Coast teams coming to play East Coast time zone at 12 o'clock has not been good for those teams. So I'll get the number later on this week and I'll shoot it to you on the show on Wednesday and let you know exactly what that number is. Because I know for sure off the top of my head, it's not good. And I'm definitely going to be on Detroit just for that reason alone. So let's move on to the next one, man. Ravens at the Patriots. Lamar Jackson showed his ass today. And I had him 2+ touchdowns, which I thought was very low. But I had it. 2 passing touchdowns, so I hit that. 18 of 29, 218, 4 touchdown passing, 1 pick, 11 carries, 107 yards, with 1 touchdown. Mark Andrews, 8 receptions, 2 touchdowns. Man, Ravens had a good game. The Patriots, though, I don't believe that Matt Patricia should be the offensive coordinator for this team, and I think that that's going to be a hindrance to this Patriots team moving forward. I know Belichick is hard-headed, but somebody's going to have to talk to him to make him realize that that's not a good recipe for your defensive coach that you had just 2 years ago is now your offensive coordinator. So I don't know what's going on there. Matt Jones, 321 yards. He had 3 interceptions, which was probably the reason why they lost. Stevens, only 73 yards. They rushed the ball for 145. That was decent. But nobody receivers caught a touchdown. And they also had 4 fumbles, 1 loss. So they had fumbles. So it looks like the Ravens was all on the Patriots today, man. I had the Ravens minus the, 6.5? 3. I'm sorry, 3. -3. I had that. And like I said, I had Lamar Jackson, 2 passing touchdowns, and -114 or something like that. So I hit both of my props on that one and the game. So what was your thoughts on the Ravens and Patriots?
Yeah, so I had a bet on the Ravens. Another team, they're a dark horse to me in the AFC. I don't know how dark they are. I guess they shouldn't be as dark as people think they are. They're a really good team. Lamar Jackson, I think he got a lot of disrespect. I still think he does. People don't remember he's an MVP. And still, if you look at the way he runs, and he's their best running back, it looks like he's running in slow motion, but what he's doing is his mind is thinking faster than ours. It's like the Matrix. He's still faster than everyone else, but he'll sit back and wait for a hole to open. He'll dip around a guy. He'll jump out of bounds at the right time. He's a guy of like inches and a foot. Like he just gets in the right position. He's a real special player. They should do whatever he wants. They should pay. They should. If they let him slip through their fingers, they're dumb. I don't think they will. But it was last week versus Miami, a lot of things were one time. You're never going to see Tua's never. That was a game of his career. He's never going to have a game like that. He's not that type of quarterback. People saying, "Oh, that's inside of him." He's not. The Ravens defense faltered, and you're not going to see the Ravens give up 28 points in a quarter again. If you do, then there's problems, but it's not going to happen. This is a legit team. This was a no-brainer bet to me. The Ravens are going to be bet on. They always get disrespectful lines. They've always been a bet on team for me because people don't see how good that brand of football is. People look at the Bills, who can do everything and are exciting, or people look at the Chiefs, and then they look at the Ravens, who they seem one-dimensional. But that quarterback, he can run the ball and be a quarterback, and they got a defense, and they got an underrated coach. That's a really good team. So I was all over the Ravens today.
And they're still injured. So when they get all their players back, they're really going to be a juggernaut. And they got a big game coming next week at home versus the Bills.
Yep.
Very good game. So we definitely going to talk about that on Wednesday as well.
I'm interested in the line. I mean, the line's probably already out. I haven't looked, but
-3 Bills, roll favorite.
Which is a little. I would love 3.5 there. We'll see where it's at. I need to index it, but it's going to be hard for me to. It's probably going to be a stay-off game, but it's going to be hard for me to bet against the Ravens at home. Yeah,
for real. I agree. And we'll see how the Bills secondary, if they can get some of their players back that was out today, maybe a different story. But Lamar Jackson is just the truth, man. And for him not to sign that contract and playing out there in that field says a lot about betting on himself, because eventually you got to pay this man for real. So
he looks bored when he's sitting by himself on the bench. He looks bored. That's what I'm saying. His mind, not just him, but his mind is moving so much faster than everyone else.
It is, and it shows on the field as well. All right, man. Let's move on to this game. I didn't see not a split of this game, so I can't tell you anything that happened, but I can go over the stats for us because I know Joe Burrow had a good game. 23 of 36, 275, 3 touchdowns. They rushed for 69 yards. Tyler Boyd, 4 receptions, 105 and a touchdown. That was pretty. Well, Jamar Chase had a touchdown. Okay, 29 yards and a touchdown. So he spread the wealth today. 3 touchdowns from the receivers. For as the Jets, Flacco, 52 attempts. Again, that is not going to sustain in this league. I'm telling you, you cannot throw the ball 50 times and expect to win. You have no run game, 76 yards. He threw 2 picks. Nobody, all they did was kick field goals. Is that what they did? Is that how they got 12 points? Field goal, field goal, field goal, field goal. 4 field goals. I should have been on their field goal kicker today. Greg Zuerlein. Let's make a thought on that in next game. Make sure 1.5 field goals for Greg Zuerlein. So, but other than that, man, everybody expected the Bengals to win. You know, there's no surprise here. They should have beat the Jets. So, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, I didn't watch much of it either. I did catch some of the highlights. I did see the Flacco came down to earth, as to be expected. I mean, he had 2. I mean, he's too old and he hasn't got enough snaps the past few years, and I don't even know if he should be a quarterback in the league. But I'm also not high on the Bengals. This was kind of I need to go through their defensive box score a little more, but it looks like Burrow did well, which means maybe he got a little bit more time. The Jets. Unless I find a line that I like with the Jets, I'm not watching the game. I don't care if who they're playing. And a lot of some really sharp people that I think are sharp were on the Jets today. I think they were just being contrarian. Because even though I'm not high on the Bengals, the Jets to me, take away Flacco. I thought the Bears and the Falcons would be the worst 2 teams in the NFL. I think both of them are playing above expectation. And the Jets are really probably the worst team in the NFL. They're at least the 1 or 2 worst teams. So I don't know. I don't know why people were on the Jets that I knew. One was a fan. That makes sense. But this wasn't a game I was interested to watch or bet on.
I agree.
It wouldn't surprise me if the Jets would cover this game. I didn't expect them to win. It just wasn't a focal point at all. I saw it on Red Zone a couple times and just kind of zoned it out.
Well, interesting note, the fact that Denver won this game, Shanahan is now 2-9 versus Russell Wilson in his game.
Yeah. That's another reason that kind of concerned me when I made my bet on the Niners. But he's played them he knows his tricks. The thing is that a lot of that was coaching and having a good defense. Now we saw the Broncos have a good defense, but there's definitely, if I was Russell Wilson, it'd take a lot of effort not to be upset at Hackett, because what he told him last game was, hey, look, I don't trust you with the ball, and I'm the man here. I'm going to be the dude that makes the decision that wins the game, not you, Mr. Future Hall of Famer.
Well, that was an ugly game, and they didn't do too much for me to be impressed. They kind of squeaked it out. Yeah. Defense probably was, like you said, Garoppolo getting sacked, things like that. So they're going to have to clean some stuff up. But as far as this Bengals and Jets game, they were able to tick Burrow today. He only had sacked twice, so I guess he had time, and he was able to, pick apart the defense, because the Jets, they were on the field. How long were they on the field? Well, not that long. They only had the ball 27 minutes, so they were 0 for 2 in the red zone, and so I don't expect anything from the Jets. We already know what team they are. I like their coach, solid, but he's going to have to get a little bit more elite personnel to contend in that division, because you got to start in your division. If you can't win games in your division, there's no reason for me to be talking about you. Yeah. So, hey, it's all good. Let's move on, man. This is the team we both said that was going to come in and have high expectations. These Eagles, man, I can't say enough about them. I love them. I have an extra set of money just set aside just to bet them because I'm a Jalen Hurts believer. And I love the fact that they got his weapon from his school, Alabama. Their chemistry is just amazing to me. Let's go through the numbers. 22 of 35, 340, 3 touchdowns, no picks for Jalen Hurts. Sanders, 46 yards on the ground. They had 72 rushing total. Devontae Smith, 8 receptions, 169 yards and a touchdown. A.J. Brown, 85 yards and a touchdown. Goddard, the tight end, he had a touchdown. So Jalen Hurts spread the wealth today, man. And his defense was off the chain, Dave. Do you understand that Eagles had 9 sacks with 17 quarterback hits on Carson Wentz today? It's amazing Carson Wentz is still standing upright, man. He was on the ground all day long and only came out with 8 points. So Philly had this game probably circled because they went in there and dominated. And I guess they wanted to show that Carson Wentz, he was not the quarterback for this team. And we're proving it right now. And we're going to set fast and go and win this division. Depends on Dallas and Giants tomorrow night. But I don't see Philly having any type of resistance winning this division. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah. If this game didn't show you, for people that if you're worth, 2 shits as a handicapper, as someone who knows stuff about sports, if this didn't show you that the Eagles are legit, then you need to dive in. I know that it is the Commanders, but here's the deal. So they played the Eagles, and everyone was like, the Eagles played the Lions the first game of the season. They said, they barely squeaked it out against the Lions. Well, look at what the Lions are doing. They're scoring a bunch of points. And so the question there wasn't the offense because they put up 38 themselves. It was the defense. The next game they went out and they beat the Vikings. And the Vikings were supposed to be one of the better teams. And they only held them to 7 points. But then they say, the Vikings might be overrated. We don't like Kirk Cousins. Well, what they did is they went in. They had a division game. They're on the road. They were on the road today, right? Yes, they were. They were on the road. And they have a game that they're supposed to do a certain thing. They're supposed to cream the worst team in the division. They're supposed to show they're the best team in the division. And what did they do? They demolished them, absolutely demolished them. They did everything on offense. They did everything on defense, just like they did everything in the offseason they could to make themselves a better team. If you had to grade what teams did in the offseason, they're number 1, A++ at the top of the list. They drafted well. They picked up. They're not known historically for drafting wide receivers. I know they have Smith from Alabama that turned out, but they've had a lot of duds. Nelson Aguilar, who was the fast kid from Cal or Oregon? DeSean Jackson.
Yeah, DeSean Jackson. Yeah.
He kind of petered out. So what they did is they went out and got the dude. They got the best dude on the block. They paid the money to get him, and now he's there. And they have the best running back crew. I'll say the best running back tandem is in Cleveland, but the best running game all around, including the O-line, is the Eagles. And Jalen Hurts was a question mark. And if these 3 games are an answer to your question, then I don't know what. They are probably right now the best team in the NFC.
Hey man, I cannot disagree with you. And this is what I was going to do this week. I was going to look up to see what are the odds in Jalen Hurts' MVP, because he's looking right there in contention for real. So I'm going to look it up this week and see it. We may could get a good number on him and put that ticket in our pocket, man.
You know what? When you look, let's make it a point to look that up, because that's a really good look.
Yeah, I'm going to look it up this weekend. I mean, this week. And we'll talk about it on the show on Wednesday, because I said if we all can have a collective group, let's jump on it, man. Because that could be a lottery ticket just waiting to cash.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to this game, man. The Saints and Carolina. I had Carolina +2. That ended up cashing because I just knew that Jameis Winston was eventually going to give the ball over. He doesn't have a run game. Kamara is not healthy, and it was all going to depend on him to move this ball down the field, which was going against the Carolina Panthers, who had the #1 pass defense in the league. So I didn't see Jameis Winston doing anything on his defense spectacular that was out of the norm. He went 25 of 41. He had 1 touchdown. He had 2 picks, as I predicted. Kamara, only 61 yards on the ground. Ingram had 18. He had a touchdown. But collectively, they only had 84 yards. Receiving, no receptions from the receivers. Michael Thomas went out the game. Landry went out the game. So the Saints completely failed. But I'm not giving credit to Baker Mayfield, because I tweeted this out, Dave, and I'm starting to agree with you. Baker Mayfield sucks, man. Like, he has opportunities to get first downs, and he just overthrows the guy, or he underthrows the guy. And I'm like, Baker, the guy is open, and you can't hit a normal flat route to get a first down. And the only reason why Carolina won this game was because of their defense. Their defense kept them in this game. Baker Mayfield had 1 play. He threw the ball out to the flat, and the guy ran all the way down the field and scored a touchdown. So McCaffrey, 180 yards. I was on his rushing yards. I had a touchdown too, but he didn't take that. But I was on his rushing yards, over 70-something, I think. So that hit. That's pretty much it, man. The defense, Carolina, they had 6 quarterback hits on Jameis Winston. The Saints, they had 6 quarterback hits on Mayfield. So all in all, Carolina's defense won this game. I cashed my ticket, so I was happy with that. But I knew that the Saints did not have the firepower coming to this game when they had to depend on Jameis Winston and no run game. So what are your thoughts?
We've done the past month or two, we've done something and talked about football. Something okay? You break something?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You know my thoughts on these two guys, and I have a lot of thoughts on both of them. This is the game, and we're talking about the circuit contest. This is the game that I would have swapped for Arizona. I thought about it. I just can't bring myself to bet on some teams, and this is I've gotten away from that. I don't have the syndrome, the bad capper syndrome of not betting against your team or betting on your team in bad spots. I do have people I just like to fade, even in spots that are close but on their side. I had Carolina as a 1-point favorite. Mm-hmm. So getting points means usually that's when it crosses through 0, you want to look at it. And Kyler Murray, by the way, talking about him, I'm going to make a comparison, but I'll talk about this game first. I am the Saints. I'm not high on Jameis Winston. I think he's a goofball. Kamara is hurt. Olave seems to be a dude, and there's probably going to be a lot of hookups between him and James, because James can still throw the ball. James just throws so many interceptions, and like I said, he's a clown in so many different ways. I wish I had that clip we could show of him. I mean, he's a talented athlete, but he's never going to be a great quarterback, and he's not going to be a winning championship guy, and he makes mistakes too. So on the other side, Baker Mayfield, I despise almost. It's because I don't understand why he was a #1 draft pick. He doesn't have a powerful arm. He used to be more accurate than he is now. He's not super fast. He's short, and the worst thing about him is he has a big mouth. And he's a product. Now, let me ask this: Baker Mayfield was there when Lincoln Riley was there, right? Was he his coach?
Yes.
Okay, and Kyler Murray was also there with Lincoln Riley, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are the two great quarterbacks, Heisman Trophy winners from Oklahoma, come into the league, really highly touted, and have issues, bad decision making? So here's another thing. Caleb Williams, is that his last name?
That's for USC now?
Yeah, Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Great quarterback, he's going to get drafted. Buyer beware on that guy, because Lincoln Riley and his quarterback, it's a product of Lincoln Riley. That's what I think it is, because both those quarterbacks are not good. And I can't bring myself to bet them unless the line is so good. That's why Arizona had a really good line, and Carolina I did too. I probably should have swapped them out. But going forward, I will not be betting on Carolina. I don't know how good or how much their defensive backfield is over expectation. Both these teams are fade teams to me. That's actually why I stayed away, because when there's a game where they're two fade teams, I stay away. But I agree with you. I think, or you agree with me now, Baker Mayfield's garbage.
Yeah, I seen it. I seen it. And Carolina's defense is the way it is, probably because of the competition that they played. They played Jacoby Brissett. They played Daniel Jones. And now they play Jameis Winston. Not the top tier of quarterbacks. So we understand that we got to temper our expectations and put things in context. You see,
who do they play? Let's look at their schedule to see.
They play the Carolina Cardinals next week at home.
Okay. Still, again, we'll see. That guy can't get the ball down the field. Let's just see. I'm going to have a point out game to show you where you'll see the Panthers defense come back down to earth.
They got the Rams.
The Buccaneers, the Rams, the Bengals, the Broncos, the Lions.
Ravens. They got the Ravens.
The Ravens. Yeah, we'll see how we'll see what happens. I think that stat's not something to get excited about.
Yeah, I agree. But like I said, I just took the stat today considering the competition that they were playing.
Yeah. No, the Carolina was the play. I said that. I couldn't bring myself to get on a smart bet because of Baker Mayfield. That's my problem.
Yeah, I understand completely. Seeing him today lets me know that I'm gonna be tempering my thoughts with them as well. I'm not gonna be betting on them a lot of times too. It just depends on the matchup.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I cashed my ticket though.
Oh yeah.
Courtesy of their defense, because they need to clean up third downs. They're horrible on third downs, and they're not gonna be able to win games. Their defense is not gonna be able to carry them every game like that. Because, like I said, I think the defense scored today as well. So that was an extra touchdown that they had because of the defense score. It didn't have nothing to do with Baker.
Yeah, he only had one touchdown, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, it was just a little out route flat. It ain't like he threw it down the field over 30 plus 40 yards. It was just a simple out boom. Guy captured the red.
No, his QBR was 11.
Yeah, and I saw it. it deserved probably.
That is IQ, both of those.
Man, for real. All right, let's move on to this one, man. Jacksonville went into LA and covered that spread and won outright 38-10 over the Chargers. Let's look at Trevor Lawrence. Shout out to Jacksonville Zoe, 28-39, 262, 3 touchdowns. Man, Trevor Lawrence was out there balling. James Robinson, 17 carries, 100 yards, and a touchdown. Christian Kirk, I had him as well. Over 72 yards. He had a touchdown. Z Jones, I don't know his first name. Zay Jones, I never heard of him, but he had a touchdown. And Marvin Jones Jr. had a touchdown, formerly of Detroit, right? He used to play with Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah, Marvin Jones Jr.
Yep.
I didn't know he was on that team.
Yep.
So, Trevor Lawrence, man, spread the wealth today. Chargers end up only had 10 points. Herbert, 25 of 45, 296. He's still 2 for 237. A touchdown and a pick. This is why he had so many attempts, because they only rushed for 26 yards. That was it right there. Jacksonville shut the run game down, made Herbert one-dimensional, and I think that he's harping an injury. He's not 100%, so this may have factored in this game. He probably shouldn't have played, to be honest. He may was stubborn and just went out there just because. You know how football players are, man. They're scared to lose their job. It could take one play for you to lose your job. Not to say he's going to lose his job. I just talk about the psychological thought of a football player. They want to play because they don't want to see nobody else take their position. I understand that, being a football player at my early age. And that's why I stopped playing football, because how intense and violent it was. I didn't like getting hit. So that's neither here nor there. But shout out to Jacksonville, man. I never would have expected them. I said they could cover on your show, but I didn't take any thought to actually look at the numbers and make an educated bet on them to win. I stayed away from the game, period, because of Herbert's injury. I figured he wasn't going to be his best. So I'm glad I stayed away, because I wouldn't have picked Jacksonville to win this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad I switched this out of the contest. And the line dropped from 7 to 3, and then Herbert ended up playing. I still got it at 3 and bet it. But here's the deal: there isn't any given Sunday is not a saying because someone made it up. These are all professional athletes. Any team can win any day. This was kind of a perfect storm, and this is, and I'll get to Trevor Lawrence, but Justin Herbert played a slightly below average game for him. Actually, a lot for him, slightly in general. But they couldn't get anything on the ground. And Austin Eckler is the slipperiest. If that's a word. He's the hardest running back to tackle in the NFL. And if he's not going, it does make him one-dimensional. And then when you have a one-dimensional throwing offense, which is going to be throwing with a guy that has an injury, like a mid-body injury. Did they say it's cracked? Did they say what it was?
Yeah, it's a rib cartilage.
Yeah. So it's even. I mean, it's what's between the two ribs that's bruised or whatever. I mean, think about that's the center of your body. So obviously they were playing down. I mean, so then we'll say, okay, well then how did Jacksonville score 38 points? Okay, Trevor Lawrence was 28 for 39, 262, 3 TDs, 0 interceptions, QBR of 72. That's good. That's above average, but that's what this guy was supposed to be doing every game. So this isn't like, oh, Jacksonville is a bet on team now. They're still bad. And by the way, the Chargers aren't a fade team because they're still good. They might be a fade team now. They have an injury. That's a different look. But there's no way that you were getting me to, even with a CJ Daniels or a backup, you were getting me to bet the Jaguars unless you knew something or you're a fan. Because he spread the ball out. I mean, there's two receivers. I mean, Kirk and Jones had a lot of yards with one. I mean, they played well. Robinson had 100. This team played above average for the league, and good for them. But this might be the best game they have all season. In fact, if I had to bet that, I'd bet it now.
Bet it now. Let's look at some upcoming games.
Yeah, let's see who they play. I mean, this is a bottom 5 team. I don't think they're quite as bad as the Jets.
They got the Eagles next week on the road.
They're going to get slaughtered. In fact, I bet you. You have the lineup right now?
6.5.
I'm there. If it's under touchdown, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Right now, circa pick. I'm not even going to index it right now. Yeah. I'm just going to say I don't even care where it is on the road.
It's on the road. And Jacksonville won their first game on the road with Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback today.
Yeah.
So he's going to win 2 road games in a row?
Yeah. You heard it here first. I'm laying on almost a touchdown, which I don't usually do for a favorite in a contest where you're supposed to be picking dogs.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm on the Eagles as well, man. I don't see them doing that against them. All right, man. This is a game that I was on. I was very heavily interested in this game right here, considering the history of Sean McVay versus the Cardinals, which is now 11-1-1 versus the Cardinals, 10-1-1 ATS. I think the Cardinals are now, 6 and it was like 1-7 now versus the NFC West, their division at home. So same old issues, same old problems. I predicted this because I know I've seen Arizona play at home versus the NFC. It's not good. They only put up 12 points. Sam Bradford. Why do I always say Sam Bradford? Matthew Stafford.
Because 18. They played for the same team.
Yeah. I don't know why I keep having them in my head. But Matthew Stafford, 18 of 25, 249. He did not have a touchdown pass. And I was on that prop today, 2 touchdowns. So I didn't cash that. They run for 100 yards flat. Cam Akers, 12 carries, 61 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp had a rushing touchdown. I bet that prop was probably plus money. Yeah. For as receivers, no touchdowns, like I said, for the receivings. For as the Rams, they had 2 sacks, 4 quarterback hits on Kyler Murray. I think Aaron Donald got his 100th sack of his career. That was one of those sacks.
He did.
Kyler Murray, 37 of 58. 58 pass attempts for Kyler Murray, 314 yards, no touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns. They only rushed for 70 yards. So they got all their points basically on field goals. So that means they had 4 field goals. 1, 2, 3, 4. I should have been on Matt Prater's field goal. But my best bet of the day, I had a big unit play on Matt Gay over 1.5 field goals because I mentioned it on Jimmy's show. He's had 11 in this 5 games. So now he has 11, 12, 13. He has 13 now field goals made in 6 matchups versus the Cardinals. So mental note, when they play again later on in the year, Matt Gay over 1.5 field goals. But either that said, like I said, I predicted this game perfectly. I knew that the Rams, I thought the Rams were going to play even better and maybe score like 26, maybe 28 points. They scored 20, but they held the Cardinals to 12. So what were your thoughts?
And by the way, that what's his first name? I don't want to just call him Gay, but
Matt Gay.
Matt Gay.
Yeah,
he probably got a lot of flack in playing football coming up. But I mean, I know we're more progressive now, but football, you know that.
Yeah, exactly.
You had that on my show too. That was an official nerd play. So that was good. This game actually, I capped this game right, and I had the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is a bad decision maker, but Stafford. By the way, he's been playing injured the whole year, or playing hurt. I'm not going to say injured. He's got an elbow arm problem. But I was never high on him anyways. I thought he kind of caught lightning in a bottle last year. He's got talent, but he just isn't it. And I don't know what it is, intangibles. I think last year him and Cooper Kupp matched up real well, and that's a good deal. But you can see it in this game. He's had issues. And if you would have told me that the Rams would only score 20 points in Arizona without knowing that trend, because I'm big on trends too, but when the numbers kind of bucket, my index I was getting like 3 or 4 points of value. And if you would have told me they would have only scored 20 points and I'm getting 3.5, I would have said I'm taking the Cardinals. I think they can keep it close enough. And here's the deal. The Cardinals should have covered this spread with the way the Rams played. They had multiple opportunities. They had the ball at the end of the game to be able to do it. But 3 things. One is the coach is not a good play caller. 2 is Kyler Murray is not a good improvisational guy. When he can run away, but then he runs away and there's another guy chasing his ass on that side. He throws the ball to crazy places, and he has to do that like Drew Brees short guy thing that keeps his eye off the field, which is not good. And they don't have a run game. They don't have a running back. And if you don't have a running back, and even though you have a running quarterback, all you have to do is play, drop 3 or 4 guys back and spy one linebacker, one quick linebacker on Kyler Murray. And they won't score points. So they need a running back. That's it. I'm disappointed I lost. I probably should have. I had the right cap for everything except for Arizona doesn't have a running game, and they're gonna have to rely on the pass.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that my friend that lives in Arizona, he's a big Cardinals fan. He harps on this all the time. He told me, pay attention to how many times Kyler Murray's in a shotgun formation.
Yes, yeah.
Because
and I live in Arizona too. Kyler Murray is a big conversation point. Trust me.
Yeah, and like you just said, Cliff Kingsbury is not a good play caller. They're horrible on 3rd down, but yet they're 10 of 14 on 4th down.
Yeah.
So it takes you 4 downs to get a first down.
It's because he goes for it all the time. Here's the deal. There was one 4th down where they were on their own 25 or 30 yard line. And because I was watching this game, it was on here. And the commentators were saying this, if they don't convert this 4th down, there's going to be a phone call to the Cardinals about Kingsbury's job. And it's true. He probably should have punted there. Thank God that they're good on 4th down, but they can't. If you're good on 4th down, that means your team's constantly in distress.
Yes,
and that's a hard way to live your life or play football or anything if you're not relaxed enough. And he's not good with pressure. He's too frenetic. He's Mighty Mouse. That's what he is. He's running around in the backfield like a crazy.
And another thing is, I don't understand, why does he still try to get rid of the ball when he's getting sacked? You're supposed to throw away the ball before you get sacked.
Take the fucking sack. I mean, yeah, that's hard for rookies. They say one of the hardest things besides the speed of the game and the larger playbook you have to learn. The other thing that's hard for young quarterbacks in the NFL is to learn how to take a sack. That's why Rodgers and Brady, a lot of the greats, know how to take sacks. Don't throw the ball. In fact, err on the side of just curling up and going down on the ground.
Yes, because you're not going to outrun everybody, Kyler.
He's fast. Guess what? There are linebackers that are just as fast as there are D linemen that are the fastest we've ever seen. I mean, give me
exactly.
running
Aaron
4.4.
Donald caught up with him when he was trying to run away. He got him on his feet, but he was able to get that sack. And Kyler Murray still threw the ball, so they called intentional grounding.
Yeah,
on a sack. Like,
I bet you he's top 5 quarterbacks in the league in intentional grounding every year. I bet.
That's a good stat to look up. Probably, I need to probably research that and see because I don't disagree with that at all, man. Man, Arizona has problems, man, and I don't see them changing it anytime soon. I mean, granted, they are not healthy. They're not the healthiest team in the league right now. So, but a lot of times, man, you can't always use that as an excuse, especially when you're doing the same tendencies that you're having trouble with. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury is this offensive guy, right? You're supposed to clean up the offense. So, but
they're not losing because of their injuries. They're losing despite their injuries. They're losing the same old shit.
Yeah, decision making. And they go to Carolina next week on the road. So another pass defense that Kyler Murray is going to have to go against. And if they can run the ball, they may have a chance. Because like I said, the Saints could have easily ran the ball today if they had a run game. And they could have gotten Carolina because Carolina gives up a lot of rush yards. But we'll see what happens, man. I'm probably going to be on Carolina again next week because I just don't trust the Cardinals right now, man. I can't do it. All right, man. Let's move on to this game because at the last minute, Dave, I had jumped on Atlanta +1, and it ended up being a pick 'em. And I ended up winning this game. At the last minute, I just jumped on them just to see if I can get some extra money. And they came out with this victory, man. Marcus Mariota, 13 of 20, a touchdown and an interception. Cordell Patterson, Dave, 17 carries, 141 yards with a touchdown. Even Mariota had a rushing touchdown. So I'm pretty sure that prop hit too. Passing touchdown, rushing touchdown. Got to make a mental note of that, Mariota. I got you. Drake London, 3 receptions, a touchdown. Kyle Pitts had 5 receptions, 87 yards. The defense, 2 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Seattle, Geno Smith, 32 of 44, 325, 2 touchdowns. They did not have a rushing touchdown, but they rushed for 112 yards on the ground. Metcalf had a touchdown, 5 receptions, 64, and Disley had a touchdown. I don't know who that is, but he caught a touchdown.
He's their he might be their one of their tight ends, I think.
He is. You're right. He is a tight end, Will Disley. So he had a touchdown. So my thoughts on this game is that Atlanta may be a bet on team to cover spreads.
Maybe they are.
Yeah. They had
so
386 total yards. Yeah, it is. 207 pass, like I said, 179 is rushing. And that's how they control the game right there. 31 attempts, 179 rushes, 5.8 yards per rush. That's how they won this game. Controlling the line of scrimmage is how they won this game. They did have 2 turnovers, but they overcame that. And Seattle's just not a good team. You know, Geno Smith is not the quarterback. He's a backup quarterback playing starter, like most of these quarterbacks are doing right now in this league. And it makes a big difference when you go against an elite team. Well, not an elite team, but a team that knows that you're vulnerable in that position. So they have ways to take advantage of it. So kudos to the Falcons. They cashed me some money today, so I'm happy with them. So what are your thoughts on this game?
So I was on the other side of this game, and I was fairly confident it'd be a close game. And by the way, it's not a horror. There's a couple really interesting things here that set it off, but it's not a horrible cap. Who would have thought that Cordell Patterson? Do you say Cordell or Cordero? Because
I believe it's Cordell. Let me
just kind of ignore that syllable in the middle. Because Cordell's spelled different.
You're right. It's Cordell Lee. But
yeah, I would say Cordero, but because Cordell is a name, but it's not spelled like that. I don't know. Yeah. Whatever. He was a fantasy dude last year, and he had a fantasy game. Who would have thought that would have? He won the game for them, in my opinion. If he didn't have that game, Seattle wins the game, and Seattle very easily could have won this game. They played exactly how I thought they'd play. I mean, they're bet on because here's the deal. I mean, Pete Carroll doesn't get the respect that the dude won a national championship, 2 national championships. They took one away from, actually 3 national championships, because there was an AP national championship we tied with LSU. Then he won one outright against Oklahoma. Then we got the one stripped No, there's just 2. We went to 3. Yeah, he had. Anyways, was a great college coach, and then he won a Super Bowl within his first 3 or 4 years of coming in the league. He's a defensive guy. He does more with less, and the defense has looked pretty good for expectation. The surprise is Geno Smith, and you said Geno Smith's not that good. Well, he's not. But he's 32 for 44, 325 yards with 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. I mean, he had that might be his best game he's ever had as a star, in the league. But both of these teams are better than people thought. But I had the Falcons as probably them and the Bears as the worst teams, but they're definitely bet on. I made money last week with the Falcons. They're going to be a team to watch, and don't put some respect on Marcus Mariota's name. Everyone was saying, "Oh, the same thing about him with Geno Smith." He's definitely serviceable. I mean, if there were some more pieces, if the O-line was better, even though they did well today, if they had a better defense, Atlanta would be. Now we're seeing that their division's weak. I mean, the Saints aren't as good as they are. Carolina's not that great, period. And Brady's taken a step back. We're seeing it. We're finally seeing it.
So you're saying this division's up for grabs?
In a couple years, it will be. If the Falcons make the right decisions, and the Saints get a quarterback, and the Panthers get rid of Baker Mayfield, it's not going to be Tom Brady. I mean, it's not going to be the Bucs divisional win.
I mean, yeah, he's leaving after this year. I don't see Tom Brady playing after this year. So.
He won too many. He shouldn't have come. I love watching him. To me, I said that he's the best. Not only the best.
Speaking of that, it's the next game. We can transition into this next game.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
The Bucs in Green Bay. I mean, this should 5 years ago. This would have been a marquee game, a real exciting game, a high scoring game probably, but it's not. Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he came in. He walked in down the tunnel. Coming into the game in his street clothes with some goofy ass tribal necklace, and he's like the Beatles after they went to India, and he discovered something in the desert, ayahuasca or whatever they take. Anyway, but he's not the same quarterback, and obviously Drew Brady is having trouble throwing the ball downfield. He can still lead a drive. The Bucs had a chance to win the game. I had the Bucs in the game. He went down and scored full field drive, and he made a mental mistake, and that's not something that's when there's a problem. He didn't give his people enough time. He was calling the play at the line. There were some shifts, and then there was the play signal. He couldn't get everything done in time, the sequence, and he was a second off. And instead of 2-point conversion at the 2, they had to take it at the 7-yard line, and then it just becomes a 4th and 7 or 4th and goal, which we know at the 7-yard line is tough. The Green Bay, all Green Bay had to do was guard the goal line, and they did that. But we're gonna see a different team with the Bucs. They're gonna be bet on. The under is gonna be bet on for sure. This didn't show Green. I mean, it's a good win because it beat Tom Brady at home, but Green Bay's in trouble too. They don't have the weapon. They've got great running backs, and they've got Aaron Rodgers. But we're gonna see the NFL become more equitable. The top and the bottom are going to come towards the middle as these great players come. And, I mean, we're going to see teams like the Falcons upset people and shake things up.
I agree. And it's interesting you say that. I was going to talk more about this on your show on Wednesday, that once Brady, Rodgers, Wilson, once these guys leave, it's nothing but young guys that's in their early 20s. This NFL is going to be a young man's sport very, very soon. At this quarterback position. So I think every year it's going to be somebody new coming up, trying to contend. So it's going to be very interesting. I had the Packers team total under 20, and I hit that, which was a very good bet. And I also had Ryan Succop, the Bucs kicker, over 1.5 field goals.
You did.
He had 2. So
that was on
I cashed my 2 props on. I cashed my 2 props on that, which canceled out my Tampa Bay -1. So I was good with that one. But like I say, the Tampa Bay 2 of 11 on third down, man. I mean, that's not going to win any games. They only had 285 total yards, period. Rush for 34, 2.4 yards per rush. I mean, Tom Brady, they had 2 turnovers. He only had the ball 26 minutes. And it still came down to that 2-point conversion that they had a delay of game on, which backed them up. and they end up missing it. So, like you said, Green Bay and Tampa may be a lot of bet unders because of the arsenal that they have. They're limited, and they're going to be running the game a lot. Running the ball a lot. The clock is ticking down, eating up clock. So these are going to be the type of games that we're going to see now until they can get healthy, especially the Bucs, because Brady, they are hurt on that offense to the extreme. He doesn't know where to throw it. He's getting frustrated out there. He's even trying to run for first downs, and it end up getting called back on the hole. He can't do nothing right. You know what I'm saying? Everything's going bad on that side. So we'll see what happens, man. Who do they got next week? They got the Chiefs at home.
They do. And that's going to be what's the line at right now?
It is at -2.5. Kansas City road favorite.
It's tough. I'm gonna have to index that, and because I think that what's the total at? You see the total?
No, I only have the lines.
Okay, so here the thing. I think Todd Bowles has to start changing his offensive game plan, because Tom Brady, they knew he couldn't throw the ball down the field, and so then the slants and out routes and that kind of thing, because he's not a real good play action guy. I mean, he's a guy on stilts back there. It looks like he's not a mobile guy. They're gonna have to start running the ball more. And I'm surprised. They have a good offensive line and they have a good running back. I'm surprised they didn't have that. That wasn't the game plan for this game. I think even though that's Kansas City, it's probably a good look at the under. The Chiefs are a question mark to me. I still think they're a great team. They should have won they're a question mark for me. But Tampa Bay isn't. I kind of know where I have them capped. I just still think they can win games and figure it out if they scheme for Tom Brady more, because that defense, I mean, if you would have told me that Green Bay's only going to score 14 points, I would have said, up to like a touchdown, I'm confident with Tampa Bay. Because, the team, Brady throws for 2 touchdowns, they run for 1, or they get 1 on defense because their defense is so good. It was kind of a weird game. And I think my cap was right, but it's going to be interesting with the Bucs and the Chiefs going forward. But unders, I think, definitely for the Bucs, and hope and pray for the Bucs' sake that the offensive coordinator changes the game plan or figures it out, because Tom Brady can't score points the way they're doing it.
Yeah, they can't. And like I said, he's getting frustrated out there to the point, we don't want to see Tom Brady get hurt or anything like that, but I just think that he's a liability out there right now.
Yeah.
And
who's their backup quarterback? How do I not know that?
Yeah, I don't know that either.
Well, who cares who? I mean, Garoppolo. We know Garoppolo, but who's seen or kept track of the backup quarterback for the best quarterback ever? Who cares?
Right.
Let's see. Blaine Gabbert. Oh God, hope he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, he ain't saving no game for nobody.
Yeah.
All right, man. That's it. We ran through it. Unless you want to talk about the late game, 49ers in Denver.
Yeah, that's bad. I put an irresponsible bet on it. They should have won that game too. Jimmy G is capable if he doesn't do what he did. I mean, the 2 plays that I saw was that sack. He held onto the ball too long, which he's known to do, and then he stepped on the line in the back of the end zone for a safety, and he looks scared there. And that might be. I mean, he does have a repaired or he has some surgery on his shoulder, so he's probably thinking of that. But the guy was a good 2 or 3 paces in front of him. He had an extra second. He didn't have to step back as a reaction. But they lost the game because of Jimmy G. It wasn't because Russell Wilson beat him or anything. And there was a couple that interception at the end and a fumble. Well, the fumble was bad, but it was a freak interception. It bounced off one guy, bounced off another guy, and they caught it.
Mm-hmm.
Niners are still a bet on team, even though they have 2 losses. They're still going to make the playoffs. Jimmy G's going to figure it out. They need a quarterback. Trey Lance wasn't it. I hope they maybe they go get some guy. I don't know who there is. I don't know who's coming up for contract. I don't know how much money they have.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It was just unfortunate Trey got hurt.
No, it was. He was the wrong guy. It's sad that a young guy gets hurt. But you know,
well, the 49ers were 1-10 on third down, man. That's just horrible. That ain't gonna win you no games. They only had 52 plays total.
Yeah.
So they even have enough possessions to even put up an offensive, you know what I'm saying, passing 179, rushing 88. Yeah, this was an ugly game. 3 turnovers. They only had the ball 25 minutes. Denver had it 35. Yeah, this was an ugly game because Denver didn't do anything special either. They were 6 of 19, 261 total yards. So this was pretty much an ugly game. Definitely an under that we should have been on. Should have foresaw that. But hey, in the future, we will see that Denver. I'm going to probably bet Denver under team totals because they can barely get to double digits. And it's amazing how you have a future Hall of Famer and you only can put up 11 points.
Yeah, they don't have the scheme. They don't have the players. I mean, people talk about they've got Gordon and Judy, and they're not that great. But put some. I mean, give respect to. I mean, 49ers have one of the best defenses in the NFL. The fact that they had the time of possession differential was that big just shows you that the defense. I mean, they couldn't score. Well, the 49ers couldn't score even worse. And really, to tell you the truth, it wasn't even that. They're not supposed to score. It was the turnovers. I mean, that fumble and interception, that's what lost the game from.
Yeah, 3 turnovers. You're not going to win.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. Unless you're playing a team that can also put up 3 turnovers. So,
yeah.
All right, man. That's it, man. Any other thoughts from today? That's off the top of your head. You want to shout out, think about,
Not just people? Thinking about next week. I mean, jump off today. Today was a below average day for me, but those come, and I'm feeling good because I think now after 3 games, my cap, and I think a lot of cappers, after about 3 games, you feel comfortable with the strategy you're going to take going forward in the season because you've seen some stuff, and lines are going to get tighter though. That's the only problem.
Yeah, and that's why I'm taking advantage of these prop bets right now because these bookies are going to start putting these props higher because of the averages. So we need to win money now, and I take 4 games. Once after week 4, I do a real analysis of who's the good teams, who the bad teams. Because after 4 games, your tendencies are known and they're not changing. So whatever you're good at, you're gonna be good at. And whatever you're bad at, we're gonna take advantage of it, considering what team you are. So I'm looking forward to it, man. This is week 3, about to end tomorrow. Dallas and the Giants. Give me your preview on that, Giants and Dallas.
So I'm gonna be on Dallas.
Okay.
Here's why, and I'm about to do a video on this. Dallas is. I want to say this the right way. Dallas every year is supposed to go to the Super Bowl, has the best quarterback, has the best owner. That's according to their fans. They're always going to be lower than expectation, but for my expectations, they're actually higher. And I think because Dak's when's Dak coming back?
They said 4 weeks, so this will be the second week tomorrow.
Here's the deal: the Giants have probably been like kind of the catching lightning in a bottle. That I say, I think that's the case because they're a one-dimensional team. They've got some decent receivers, but they got a QB that can't get it to them. And I was looking at the stats. I think they're in the back 5 or 6 teams in passing percentage as far as their plays, and they're 6th in the NFL in rushing percentage, which means they're just giving the ball to Saquon Barkley. And if the Cowboys can just say we're going to crowd the line and make him pass, it's going to be tough, I think. And then if they do that, then you got Micah Parsons breathing down Daniel Jones' throats. So I like the Cowboys. I probably the unders. It's really low. It's like a 38 or 39, I think.
Yeah, it's real low.
Yeah, I do like the under, but maybe not that low. But at this close, I mean, I probably like the Cowboys up, and they're actually getting points, aren't they?
Yeah, I believe so. Hold on.
I like the Cowboys up to a 3-point favorite, so it doesn't matter whether they're getting or whatever. I know it's at home, but if another thing too, if they can't beat the Giants, I mean, Cooper Rush, Daniel Jones and Cooper Rush are probably not far off as far as
the Giants. Yeah, the Giants are -1.
Yeah. It's -1, not -2. Yeah, I'm on the Cowboys. I'll probably money line them. I don't need a point.
I'm not mad at that. I think the Cowboys have beaten the Giants like so many games in a row.
Yeah, so that's another thing. I looked into the trends, and it's like 6 of the last 8 games or 8 of the last 9 games. Something. I'll look. I just came back from down the street. That's why I'm not ready. But I'm ready to do a video on the Cowboys, and there are trends. The problem is with trends in the beginning of the season. Last season was last season type of thing. The one trend that I'll look at the most is the Cowboys beating the Giants in New York. That matters more than just, who's won or lost in the records, because there's a lot of different players, and Dak's not there, and they don't have the same old line they've had. But I like the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Like I said before, whoever wins the turnover battle is going to win this game. I'm definitely going to be on the Giants field goal kicker, Gano. I'm going to be on his over half field goals. He's going to have to, I'm pretty sure. They're not going to be able to convert, touchdowns like that. They may get in their field position and kick field goals, but the pass rush for Dallas may be a problem for Daniel Jones, and that under is looking low, but I may sprinkle some on it just in case.
Yeah. I just don't see – I don't see – the Cowboys don't have the receivers. They've got the running game. But then again, I don't think that the receiving crew they have or the quarterback – I think of it kind of like Seattle. They're fill-ins, but they're decent. And Giants have definitely better wide receivers, but Jones can't get it to him. Jones isn't a good quarterback, and it's showing. Their play design, and again, it's only 3 games. You got to look at who they played, but they're 6th in the NFL in rushing percentage. That means their game plan is to give it to Saquon Barkley. So you load the box and make him pass, and you blitz the shit out of him, and then that'd be my game plan. I'm not an NFL coach, but that's pretty easy to me.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. We may see a lot of heavy dose of Barkley and Zeke. We may see both of them heavy dose.
Pollard, they should get him more involved.
Yeah, who knows? But we'll be on it tomorrow for sure. That's it, man. If it's anything else, man, we can go and get out of here. Plug yourself. Tell them about your video you're about to put up and where they can find you at.
Yep. So I'm Picks from Dave on Twitter. I put up plays every single night. I have my record there, which I still need to update from last month. But all my plays are posted and time-stamped. I have a YouTube channel. I do pick videos every night, all different sports, at least one video. And then Wednesdays and Fridays, which LJ is a part of, we do something called Nerdtalk, the Capper Collective, which is where we get a bunch of cappers from all over the place, all different countries, all different sports, and we sit around for a few hours and cap all the games, whether it's NFL on Wednesdays or on Fridays. We do everything for the weekend, and it's just putting minds together because, the more of us together, the better. It's not about competing. It's about, winning money, and the more brains we have, the better. So
I agree 100%, man. It's us against the bookies, man. We're not trying to be selfish and keep all the information for ourselves. Because we win, we all win, as a collective. So I completely agree with you, man. So until next time, appreciate your time, Dave, coming on with me, man, doing this NFL recap. We're going to do it consistently every week just to put it out there, let people know what we were looking at, what we bet on, how do we do, things like that. And like I said, it's going to get more exciting throughout the, the season as these games progress and we separate the boys from the men. You see what I'm saying? So until then, LJ, y'all can find me, like I said, at Twitter, LJ from H-Town at LJ Sports Media. Also, find me on Dave's Picks for Days, Nerd Talk, like he said, on Wednesdays and Fridays. I'm also Pub Sports Radio on Sundays with Jimmy, Thursdays with Dutch, Thursday Night Football. So we all over the place, man, trying to get this money, trying to get this content out. And like I said, trying to beat these bookies and make money. So until then, man, thank you, Dave. RaWordz Podcast, LJ from H-Town, and we are out.
All the time we be pubbing on the grind. If it's LJ from Houston, pulling up stats, you'll be pulling in stacks, hitting bookies from the back with no Vaseline. I need green and up see quantities for a fiend, save the dreams for a king. This is H-Town, home of the lean. Astros is the team, and we rock it. Texans for life, you can't